Um, Merry Christmas and joyous Noel to everybody. And I hope you had a really nice, emotional Christmas, worthy of remembering, emotionally, with love, appreciation for what and who you were around this Christmas. And if you were alone, like me, I hope you got through the sorrow of being alone at Christmas. I did. Here I am, December 27th at about 4 a.m. I woke up. 4 is the darkness, and 5 is the light. I am definitely out of the matrix of 3, which I don't even know, guys, if I can give it a 3. Like I even think since 1999 maybe, everything's been like one-dimensional. It's all about creating an image and not worrying about anything of substance, right? So, but I've had, the good part of being alone is I've had a lot of time to think. And, that's one thing I've gotten used to is myself over these years being isolated in Quebec, is I really got to know myself by observation, by my own history, by not having a negative influence, telling me who I am or judging me other than what they see in front of them. And Le Québécois sees an English woman, so they judge me immediately as being, an English invader again, into France. And this is the mentality of Le Québécois, is they want it sovereign to French only. And I don't think they're just talking about language. You pretty much have to have the same mother tongue, which I can't and don't have. I was woken up by the street cleaners. Quebec does keep their streets very clean of snow. And applause goes to the coordination and the work of the city employees. They are very, very efficient. But one thing I was thinking about over the last couple of days, besides My dad, can you see him? Probably not. Is one thing I know for sure, guys, anybody listening, is in not one of my characters, if you will, or personalities, or past lives, or whatever, are violent. None. How do I know? Because there's no history. There's no history of me being violent. And not at the police, and not at the hospitals, nowhere. I did throw things occasionally, but when I did throw things, I wouldn't judge it because it was an emotional reaction my spirit was having. And, our spirits do go unconscious in states of fear. And we are born into fear here, aren't we, really? We're born into a cold institution now. And we're not born to midwifery in our mother's bedroom anymore. We're taken away into these cold places where men wear white lab coats and think they know the body of a woman when they don't even study the body. We have a completely different skeleton. I don't know if you know that. We, as women, our skeletons are nothing like a man's. Like, we're not supposed to be out there building houses or going to the gym or being in the Olympics and things like that. That's not our skeleton. Our skeleton is designed to push human beings out of our bodies. When they're ready, when they're incubated, we can do that. And we have a very strong sense of truth, women do. And when they're lied to, something inside of them goes crazy. And when you're unconscious and you're being lied to, your spirit's going to go crazy. Right? So, if you find yourself going crazy like me a lot, in emotional reaction, not in your crazy deeds for the day, but in your emotional reaction, you better ask yourself, what is going on that I can't see? because if you're having emotional reactions to things you can't see, you will see them when you cross back over and judgment is gone. There's a word that everybody's familiar with. It's French word. Je Vous. Je Vous. Now I was here thinking I have déjà vu so often, and I wonder what it means. And then I remembered my story and how it's mapped out, like the streets I lived on. The hospital I was born in was Lionsgate Hospital, right? And I connect that to an earthly belief system about lions, right? And, I lived on Chester. These are streets I lived on in England. And they serve as I lived in Surrey, British Columbia, and Delta, British Columbia, and on 119A Street in Delta, and 144th Street in Surrey. And I went to, get this, guys, I went to Mary Jane Shannon. And you know what the slang for Mary Jane is here. I went to Mary Jane Shannon Elementary School. And there was also a Mary Jane Shannon Senior Secondary. But we had by then moved over to 119A Avenue. And 119 is the opposite of my birthday, which happens to be on 9/11, September 11th, 1959. Now that date is another earthly clue. And I'm starting to see which the word of vu, as in déjà vu, I'm starting to see you and me together again. Like people in my past reappearing and doing the same bullshit. I don't think they know what they're doing. I sure don't know what the hell they're doing. And right now I'm talking about my sister, Charmaine. Now, my sister Charmaine is my half-sister. She is like a stepsister. And ever since she was very small, she never liked me. It could be the influence of my mom, because my mom didn't like my dad. That's my dad. But my dad never wore a tie like that. never, ever wore a tie like that. He wore the string ties, especially if he's going to a country event with Conway Twitty and me, because I was at this concert at the Newton Inn as a guest of the photographer. And I went to Conway Twitty's room after with the band, and we had a party after the concert. But my dad was definitely not there. And if he was there, he wouldn't have worn that tie. He was a country boy. He would have worn his string tie. He had a string tie. But wait, I was looking closer. And he's got his arm wrapped around Conway Twitty. I don't know if you can tell. He's got his hand pointed right down. Can you see that? And it's the number 5. You can see all 5 fingers. It's a trigger that I had mapped out before I was born with my star cluster family. See, I was talking about the star cluster family all along, right here. The other thing about all of my personalities or characters, they don't lie. I don't lie. I may be, now I look, mistaken in my judgments. If I looked at something and I judged it, good or bad, I made a big mistake. We all are. We all are. I don't know, I don't trust the Bible anymore. Can't trust the scriptures because the word can be twisted. The words can be twisted, and that means new images in our minds, in our programmable minds, can pop up. And we can begin to think. And as we think, we are creating. As we think, we are creating and unfolding our journey. At least I am. That's what I know I am. I am not, being surprised by events. I'm becoming conscious to why they are here. And one thing Jesus said, do you remember? If you were a Christian ever, or ever did any religious studies, Jesus said, before you judge your brother, take the beam out of your eye. Before you judge your brother, I don't know what verse that is. Take the beam out of your eye. Now, I wondered what that meant. And I assumed it meant before you don't have any sins, right? I thought beam was some kind of a log in your eye where you couldn't see, and you shouldn't judge your brother. So I didn't. I take things literally. Some people take things inferentially, and they'll bring in all sorts of meaning to it beyond what the words are. He said, take the beam out of your eye before you judge your brother. And now that I know the beam in the pupil, not in the pineal gland, that's bullshit. That's crap. Have you ever seen anybody with one eye in the forehead? Stupid? No. So you believe in things that you were told but make no sense to you, because you've never seen people with one eye in the forehead. But you do see people with beam in their eyes. That beam means light. That's your light. Take your light out of your pupil before you judge your brother. Because your light does see all. It records everything. All your thoughts, all your fantasies. The whole picture is right there of multitudes of past living experiences with these same people. The same people you live with today. The same people you encounter. Je Vous. Je Vous. I see you. I see you. And you are me. And I am you. And we all have the story. And we're all part of each other's stories. And when I recognize you, my spirit will have typically a positive reaction. But occasionally, I come upon someone who, for no reason or thought of my own, I repel from. And that is because of a past experience that hasn't been resolved. And this is my life where I mapped it out with my star cluster family, with triggers in the street names, in my, journey, things that would trigger me and waken me back into consciousness. I have those photos of myself over there in many different, places around the world. I've traveled the world. I mapped out where I was going to go long before I was born. And so the déjà vu is just me remembering that I mapped this out. And if you want, I don't have reason to believe I'm special, okay? And I just wonder if you have ever had Je Vu, and perhaps, I don't know, this is happening to you, where you're awakening to your own past lives, and they may be a little confusing, but there will be stability in the core of you, I believe. And there is in me. I know I am not violent. I know I love unconditionally. I know I don't lie. And if I do any of those things, I feel shame, guilt, like I can't live with it in me. I can't live with a lie in me. And I really try not to judge, because of that verse I learned as a child. Don't judge. Take the beam out of your eye before you judge. And that is what it really literally means. Because when we cross over, all of the stories come together. And we are back to our selves, which are childlike, and unconditional love. That's who we are, guys. That's who you're gonna wake up to, whether you like it or not. And the thing is, when you do something, like I, have, that goes against your better whole light, your judgment, it weighs on you. It weighs on you emotionally. Emotions are critical to the evolution of your wholeness on earth. And it is possible to experience heaven on earth, which simply means, guys, heart on earth. Means heart. And my dad wasn't at the concert, but his spirit was. Whether he was sleeping in some prison somewhere or drunk in some alley, he was there in spirit. All those little blotches there are not messes on my photo. He's a spirit at that concert protecting me. And I probably needed it. And there is his number 5. 5 finger, a thumb and 4 fingers, to show me he was there. Because I told you yesterday that the photographer of this band that day brought me there and to the after party. But my dad wasn't there. He really wasn't. I am not a liar. am not stupid. And I do have memories that, I'm not going to let anybody gaslight what I do know, especially if it's a lie. And he wasn't there. And he never, ever wore a tie like that. So it's all, you know what? I'm having a good time thinking. And I'm careful with my thinking not to judge, keeping an open mind so that more information, more light can come in, right? And I encourage that for anybody who wants, the truth, is this open-mindedness is important, because a lot of times I don't want to look at the truth. I don't want to see it. It's horrible. What I have lived through to break apart into a million pieces. You see, even that phrase, million little pieces, reminds me of something. It reminds me of me. A little girl who was ravaged by adult males, humans who were unconscious to what they're doing. And it might be worth everybody bringing the light up and telling the truth about your own story, right? Were you abused? Were you abused? Yes or no? You can dance around, but it's about facing the truth, facing the light, to get out of the darkness, you see. It's very fucking scary. I have to wonder what happened to me to break into all of the pieces, all of my past lives popping up to save me or to go through it again. But I know Latin, I know French, I know German, I know Old English, I know Shakespeare, I know Romeo, Romeo, wherefore art thou, Romeo, very well. And wasn't she suicidal? Well, that's been me since I was 17. Yeah, I'm not homicidal, but every part of me has wanted to escape what I see, because I know that under the surface, the darkness is love, and everybody is going to have to come to terms with that and face it. You have to face the light when you are in the dark, or you will stay in the dark until you're ready. You've heard of the past life, near-death experience people come back and say, no, I saw Grandma and Grandpa there and they said it wasn't my time. They told me I had to come back. You will keep coming back. Welcome back, Kotter, until you are no longer afraid of the light.